So I suppose if the question were, what is this, is Mahler 9 for me? I mean, I have played it, I don't know how old I was the first time I did it, maybe 33, maybe 35, I can't remember. I hadn't conducted all the other symphonies of Mahler, that's for sure, by that stage. And I have conducted it over the years on several occasions with several orchestras, and now with mine here. So the question would be, is this the most important symphony of all 9? It's a very lonely profession being a conductor, really, isn't it? Because you're spending all the time with your own thoughts. I can't start this piece without knowing that I'm going to fight for my own life, in my own craziness of thinking my eyes are lying to me and I'm going to be incarcerated in my entire head forever and ever, screaming to get out. That's what's in this piece, and I have to find that way in. I have to do it. I know I'm going to win this piece. Ça sent bien. Oui, c'est pas totalement facile, mais c'est bien. Ah. Excuse-moi. I would say the most important thing is about the idea of coming home. So he starts off with a theme. It's actually in that key. That's on a scale 3, 2, 1. But he spends the whole of the first thing going 3, 2, 3, 2, and he goes off. Only at the very end of the first movement you get da-dum. Ba. And even that is a flageolet, it's a harmonic, it's this ping, it's not very, it's all, there's no body in it, it's not really a coming home. So this idea of coming home and the idea of the end of this piece, we're going to fight, aren't we? Every time this piece happens, we start off with a theme. Da-dum, pa-dum, pa-da-da, goodbye. And then the next time it comes, because it's always going to change, isn't it? Ta-ya-da-dum, ba-da, ta-ya-da-dum, ba-da. So ya. I know that's a major sixth. And I know in my life that ta-ya-da-da, ba-ba-ba. The beginning of Tristan is a minor sixth. And if you look in Brahms and any of this stuff, the major sixth encompasses all the things about human love that are wonderful, I think, in the end, basically, in my experience of these things. And the minor sixth is something that it's not there. We haven't reached it yet, which is why Tristan in Isolde starts with da-ya. If it was da-ya, ba-da-ya-rum-bum-ba-ba. So he's right about these tiny details suddenly encompassing a whole life in only 2 notes. But the funny, lovely thing is that it starts in bar 5 of the first movement, this da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And once you get to know da-da-da-da, you're going to hear it about 6 times, doesn't it? I think it comes in the first movement. Each time, you're going to now think that's a kind of crystallized form of life. Bon, merci. Je veux le premier round, quand on joue la symphonie assez vite, avant qu'on laisse le premier mouvement, simplement peut-être 2-3 choses dedans. Et après, on fait la ronde entière. Juste la première chose, après la fin de ce mouvement, vous entendez l'adieu de tiadam, tadam, badadam, badada. Peut-être on peut choisir une autre couleur. We fight. We think, great, this is the second idea. Da da dee da dee. But then suddenly this goes da 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 ba ba bum ba bum. The trumpets do something weird da 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 dum, and then we get ya ya bum 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 ya bum. And so we struggle again. Well, that's the same thing we've just started with. So what we're expecting is A theme, then B theme is actually A little bit of B, and screamy A again. So we've done a kind of a third block because he can't spend too long simply saying goodbye because it doesn't work. So that's one element. Then we get a big B block and we fight around with that. And then eventually it splats. It's like a train running into a wall and poof. We then enter development section, which is what we expect. But we weren't expecting to have this theme stuck earlier on. So somebody may get lost about that. Then you come into the development section, which has got 5. So dong, 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 dong. That was the introduction. Da, da, da. Da, 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 that was our first tune, but now it's rather beautiful because there's something else about Mahler I love. I like these first and second violins stuck apart, which Mahler writes he likes too, and I think it's part of the composition. So we now have material and we pass it left and right, so we share this. And then we will go through 5 sections of development. Each one will do our own thing. In the middle, we're going to get this big black hole we've fought. Then we crawl out of the black hole like, original slime, this like creating a life out of nothing. And then we have this conduct, this Trauermarsch, this, funeral march, which is using all the same themes as we had before. But the one thing that gets me about that, we hear it very earlier on, the trumpets going da-da-da-da-dum, da-da, this idea of fanfare. Merci, merci. Super. Donne-moi la même idée que dans Parsifal. Pas trop sans vibrato, parce qu'il existe des accents là, et c'est un très petit peu carré. Un très petit peu plus de lignes là. L'autre chose que je veux planter sur les têtes, on a un A thème triste, un B thème la vie. Mais les deux sont les deux côtés. Le triste, on est triste, c'est très... On est disparu, on pleure, on pousse dans cette direction. C'est pour ça... C'est la même qu'au début, mais c'est beaucoup plus comme ça, la tristesse. C'est la même chose que le B-thème. On peut battre contre le destin. Ça, je crois, c'est plus important. C'est foncé parce que c'est en mineur, mais on veut gagner, Et à la fin, plusieurs dans le milieu, le mouvement, à la fin, on est trop, on a perdu toutes les possibilités, c'est le trou noir, toutes des choses comme ça. C'est tous les deux thèmes, il change. C'était ça pour vous dans la tête là. Alors, je sais que c'est plusieurs choses au milieu où on doit rejouer ça pour qui fait quoi dans 3 contre 4 contre les autres choses. Ça, je laisse maintenant. On joue le deuxième mouvement parce que je veux que vous avez vraiment toute la pièce entière dans la tête encore une fois. C'est clair que le premier mouvement et le dernier mouvement, c'est autour de le protagoniste. Dans ce cas, nous, Mahler, quand on veut. En interne. Le deuxième et le troisième, c'est clair que ça porte ce dialogue, cette espèce de combat dans le monde au extérieur de nous. Alors deuxième mouvement, c'est clairement le Ländler et la valse. Le troisième mouvement, on a toutes les champagnes, les pistes, toutes les choses comme ça. Mais la chose ici dans le deuxième que je trouve difficile, c'est dans la Ländler. Faites attention que le plus lent qu'on joue, on doit garder plus en plus le cynicisme. So it's the yum pa pa pa. Doesn't tell me anything, but yum pa pa pa, yum pa pa pa. Mahler was very jealous of the simple person. The simple person just gets on in life. They wake up in the morning, they go to work, they have kids, they do that, and then they die. And he's jealous about these people. In fact, he's actually so jealous because they haven't opened this Pandora box of saying, why, what if, what comes next? So in this second movement, you start getting this rather wonderful earthy dance, getting more and more sophisticated, more and more over the top. It's as if almost Mahler saying, sod you lot, you're not getting it, you shouldn't get it so easy. And then the waltz, which it's got too much earth in it, so he makes even the sophisticated society, he sticks his tongue out at sophisticated society. And in the end, that whole idea of a dance movement in this disappears into zero-ness. If you can take with you the idea of fanfare, you're going to find it everywhere in Mahler. And it's lovely a fanfare because it's trumpets, it's a very simple harmony. You know where you are with a fanfare, but it conjures up for me immediately this story of him, young boy, father's drunk, beating his mother. He runs out of the house totally distressed. And then hears coming up from the valley below this army camp with these trumpet sounds. So every time a trumpet comes, you've got this idea that it's both terribly simple, it's alive because it's glorious music. At the same time, it's associated with Mahler with the most distraught, terrible, a lonely fight. So obviously, of course, the thing I love about what we call classical music, which I hate that term, all it is music with a lot of players, a lot of voices, a lot of human beings creating it. And what they can do then is that we can show, because there's no words, we can show different sides of the same thing. So we can say that on the one hand, these trumpets are showing their life. On the other hand, we can say it's the most distraught black. And so we get this mixture of black and white all the time. And I think us human beings, how often can you say, really, I'm completely happy or I'm completely sad? You never, the things that are really interesting in life are always this slightly gray area of mixture of stuff. And that's what this type of music offers. OK, le 3. And in the third movement, of course, with all these fugues, and then, of course, he's really angry. He's using all of this stuff. What was it he said? Do you remember? We talked about it the other day. He said, yes, humor is the only antidote to the poison of life. Now, what he really meant was anger actually is the only antidote to the poison of life. So you've got these two middle movements which are fighting their way out of existence. But the outer two movements are him and his internal struggle, and the middle two movements is shutting it somewhere else. A march is interesting because, again, usually people are marching, so you're going somewhere. Now, are you going somewhere that you want to get to? So we're going to walk. Yes, that's the goal. We're moving all together, comrades. We're going to go and get there. Or is somebody got a pistol to your head and telling you you've got to march, so you don't want to go where you want to get? Maybe it's the march to the gallows. Maybe it's the march to heaven. You know, this concept of march in Mahler, which again is full of here, is both things at the same time, which is what I love about this. I think that's why it's such amazing music, because he accompanies us in the most simple way, in the most complex way at the same time.
Tu respectes le déroulé là, de couper.
C'est comme Mahler,
ça, par contre,
tu prends des petits morceaux et que tu le joues.
Je pense pas que Wagner aurait aimé ça.
Ça te fait quand même deux bonnes heures et demie.
À peu près.
Tu parles de quelle pièce?
Non, mais même Mahler, c'est assez familial. Voilà, c'est ça.
I know when I start this piece, I'm going to fight for 1 hour and 15 minutes. Either I am going to be sad in the first movement, because in the first movement I'm saying goodbye to all the beautiful things in life. And when he writes in this score, vanished days and scattered lovers, so he writes this in the score, you really think, yeah, well, perhaps the thing that Mahler finds most difficult is giving up on human love. The first movement, we're going to say goodbye. And in the last movement, we are going to try and eradicate all the fear of dying. But we can't do that until the very last page. You know, this last page here just looks like only a few notes. It takes 5 minutes to play. And at that point, we can just about give up and let go. And so he makes all his material come home to this point. And the bit I like most about the last movement is that you fight this chorale, then comes a bassoon. Ba, 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 da, da. It's kind of macabre rising forward. That's not going home at all. That's going up. We try this, we fight against it, we resuscitate ourselves, we try and come to terms with, we try, and then we get this central section. Harp. Ding, 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 da, ya, da, da. Goes on really quite a long time. And I find that my picture there is always, I put on this coat, Mahler, puts on this coat. What is it going to be like to be dead? We're going to try it. Maybe it's not so bad after all.
Great.
Ti-dum, pa-da-da-da-yum, bum, ba.
Yes,
got
we are,
dum.
we are.
Yeah, and you're the only one with this foot.
Yes.
Dum, 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 dum. So
Perfect.
we should go
Yes,
da-dum.
sforzato piano.
Oh,
Perfect.
Yes, but they haven't. They got
I-
pianissimo, so it's
Yes,
it's
yes.
strange.
But I
yes.
was wondering if it the pre what we have after.
No,
or
I said to me, da 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 ba da 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 ba ba da.
Perfect.
Great.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
Great. No, but it's got these little things. You suddenly look at them, then it comes in the concert, and you think, oh,
Yes.
how was it?
Exactly.
So you could say Strauss, of course, hides all this stuff behind this wonderful story. He doesn't want us necessarily to feel what he's feeling. Mahler always wants us to feel what he's feeling. So the sunrise, wonderful. We climb a mountain. The sun descends. All the themes of the human themes he puts in reverse, and we descend down the mountain. The waterfall is beautiful music. On the glacier, it's all fantastic. I don't think. I take with me still, even in that we have to climb the mountain. That's what we have to do. And I think it's more positive really than this. I do believe that, of course, the second and third movements of Mahler 9 only work because he is destroying everything around him. He's destroying the simple person who's having just great in life. He's destroying the sophisticated society, getting drunk on champagne, thinking they know everything, and they're hiding. They're not really facing the truth. Mahler's looking for the truth. The third movement, you know, until the chorale comes out, we fight and fight until this gruppetto suddenly, oh my God, maybe we're going to survive. No, we don't, and we fight there. I think that I'm still more positive about music than I am negative about it, which means the beauty, the joy. At the end of Mahler 9, I nearly always have said hello to my mother's dad, who's dead many years now. Like that guy, he was a good guy, and we used to play darts together and that kind of stuff. I think it brings you, obviously, to a point where if you've had tragedy in your life, or you've thought about it, or you revisit it, but because you're all protected in this music. It's not really, really real. It touches the deepest truths, but it's not us. It's not us. We relate to it, and we are cleansed at the end. And our biggest job, I think, as conductors, or biggest problem is the more we spend all our time, we study, we wave our arms. And we kind of hope that that's going to work. But the more we study and study, the more, you know, every time I color in this piece, there's more and more detail. I am never, ever going to be able to share that detail with an orchestra, with a public. And it almost comes to the point where the mountain's so big, you can't even start it. So we have to be careful we don't lose ourselves in this music, but we like getting lost, and it becomes a bit of a drug, and it becomes a bit of something, melancholy becomes something we rather enjoy. I firmly believe that music is something that we share together. You need to share an allegory with somebody you don't know. You need to share an allegory. You need the person coughing in the fourth row, actually. That's part of your experience of creating this thing. Am I finding that the most important symphonies are about death because that's the thing that's inevitable? Or is actually love and climbing mountains? What I will do my best, always, every time, that's obviously what Alpen Symphony or anything positive is telling us. And I'm never quite sure is whether it's because I genuinely am depressed all the time. Maybe that's it. And maybe that's why it speaks. Or whether I've just nothing to learn from happy music. Happy music is happy music. Jesus Christ, I can be happy, we can get drunk and have a great time, you know. I don't know whether that, but I am drawn to something like Mahler 9, and it changes one. One is different at the end, and one will be different next time it happens. And we do it again later on, and we will find out what journey is going to say this time. Mahler 9 has accompanied me through many parts of my life. And then the question is, does it change? And of course it changes. I mean, it changes every single time because I get older and I listen to more major thirds like Blomstedt. And then I think, God, you know, it's never going to be possible to share all this stuff because this journey about being scared, I would love to take away the fear, anybody about dying, because I think that's the biggest gift that music can give anyone, is that it never tells you the answer, because it's only suggestion. Music is only suggestion. There's no word. Even in a song, it may not be exactly the sun is shining up there. Well, the sun is shining up there. No, the sun is shining. It doesn't necessarily mean the same thing. He knows he's going to die. That's the thing, of course. Mahler knows he's going to die. He knows he can't avoid death, and it's coming way too early in his life. Now, always been this question. I mean, how much do composers, how much is it all about them and it's all, you know, Symphonia Domestica? I don't think any composer would ever write anything that they didn't think was about something important to them. It becomes important to us. So let's take it. Let's assume it's great. Mahler's got a heart condition. He's very famous, 52, whatever it is, 50 a year. He's going to die, and he can't stop it. And that's why he's in panic. The concept of death has to have been something that is transcendental. I have no proof, but I am not going to believe it's a bad experience. In fact, I would go more than that. I say it's impossible if you spent so much time with really great music, and that could be anything, honestly, any epoch, any genre you want. If it's really great music, it's telling you something really true about the human existence. But let's say my experience, which has been a lot of this classical music, the experience is always that the next universe is really, it's only a brain world away. We are right next to it all the time. And that's why they're all going to laugh at us, because we're making a big deal of it, and it's going to be like that. And at the end of Mahler 9, you're gone and it's fine.